Hello and welcome to the Islamic Finance Weekly, where we discuss and capture the activities in the non-interest finance market. Sustainable financing has decreased over the period, and there is an upward trend worldwide, of which the primary focus is on green energy to address climate change and global warming, which has led businesses to investment in areas like energy efficiency, waste management, and treatment. Looking at the importance of Islamic finance and the contribution on environmental projects, especially renewable sources of energy, the Green Sukuk is a strategic product in the non-interest finance space designed to provide funding for sustainable projects in the globe. How can we harness Green Sukuk as a tool to finance electricity, solar energy, and other energy sources in Nigeria? In this episode of Islamic Finance Weekly, I'll be discussing achieving scale in renewable energy through Green Sukuk. Joining me to shed more light on the topic is Mr. Adejumo, Managing Director, Guaranteed Power Limited. Good morning, Mr. Adeoluwa. It is nice having you on the show.
Good morning, Bukola. It's a pleasure being on the show.
You're welcome. First, tell us about Islamic finance and its contribution to sustainable development, especially in the area of investment in renewable energy.
One thing I particularly like about Islamic finance is the fact that it encapsulates the age-old wisdom of money is not wealth, and money is only a medium of exchange of wealth. And then let me first talk about, so what is wealth? So wealth will be all the things that we want. And in practical terms, we're talking about 24/7 electricity, we're talking about clean drinking water, we're talking about good roads. If you're a patient with respiratory issues during the COVID era, we're talking about oxygen. So Islamic finance is useful so that you're not just compounding money for money's sake. And then, so it forces the investor, it forces the entrepreneur, it forces the government, it forces all the players in the sector to invest their money into projects that actually bring real wealth into the environment. So for one, I like the fact that it focuses on long term. So you can then do infrastructure projects. You can do human capital development projects like education, for instance, your Sukuk, that actually produce real results in improving the state of education in Osun. And then it focuses on the use of equity or equity-like instruments so that the assets themselves are then recession resistant. Recently, we just had, in the last 6, 7, 8 years, we had Ebola, we had COVID, and right now we're having the Russia-Ukraine war. So if you are over leveraged in this type of environment, then your investments, your assets will be at risk of loan defaults. So the other thing I like about Islamic finance is the ethical perspective. It looks at the overall ethics of what you're getting into. So if the goal is just to make money, then how about we sell drugs? How about we do things that damage the environment just to make money, right? But Islamic finance recognizes that wisdom of you should not sacrifice meaningful wealth just for the sake of money. So the other thing I would emphasize from the perspective of someone who's not even faith-based or someone who's not looking at environmental sustainable goals would be the fact that because projects in Islamic finance are asset-backed, you have relatively higher asset quality than conventional finance. So why should you care? Returns. You get better returns if the asset quality is high. Your investment is not eroded away. So I see Islamic finance as a practical and a beneficial approach to finance. It's one way of doing finance, which is say it diversifies our financial ecosystem, and two, it's actually a good way of doing finance.
Now, renewable energy is fast becoming an alternative source of electricity in the world. How can Nigeria tap into Green Sukuk to finance strategic renewable energy projects?
Yes, thank you so much for this. I've been dying for an opportunity to make the case for renewable energy in Nigeria, especially because when you look at the ecosystem, we tend to be a lot more focused on the short term. And then we're always saying, okay, how practical is that? How practical is that? So when we talk about renewable energy, we have the solar, the wind, the hydro. There's also geothermal. But my focus is currently on solar, hydro, and wind, because those are the most practical. They are already cheaper than fossil fuels, right? The one issue that they have is that they're intermittent. So for solar, as an example, they might overproduce during the day, and then they might not generate at night. For wind, especially in the northern part of Nigeria, early in the morning and then very late at night. And then hydro, sometimes you overproduce during the rainy season, and then there's declining output when there's drought. So I get that there are some concerns about how to effectively integrate all that to make a good ecosystem to provide stable electricity for us. But let me come at it from this perspective. The current system we have, which is gas-fired plants and decentralized large grid, it's already not working. Right now, we have the last 2 weeks or so, we had an explosion at the gas-fired plant. The maintenance costs are heavy. Right now that we have the Russian-Ukrainian war, cost of gas has gone up. So initially you have something that works, and all of a sudden the rug is pulled right under you. So I would say renewable energy has proven itself. When you look at the project that the Al Maktoum family did in Dubai, they actually achieved a record-breaking lifetime cost of energy. They have the largest solar park in the world in their desert. They started in 2013. They are targeting 5,000 gigawatts of electricity. They are targeting 75% of energy from renewables by 2050. And their costs, last I checked, they were able to achieve as low as 2.5 cents per kilowatt hour, all by thinking long term. So I would say renewable energy, depending on how you want to look at it, you can look at it from the perspective of the investors and the financiers and the non-interest funds. One, there is almost no asset class aside real estate that can provide stable monthly dividend returns.
So are you saying Nigeria can use Green Sukuk to finance electricity, solar energy?
Absolutely. There are 3 players in the sector that I think can work together. I see the federal government, and they've started using some sukuks, green sukuks. I see the corporates, and some have started to take up the corporate sukuk. And I think there's an opportunity for communities. So that could be the homeowners association or cooperatives. And even at the local government level, I think sukuks and musharaka, the musharaka, that's the equity partnership, because power projects tend to be long-term. So they are an ideal use case for the sukuks, so that if you look at what has happened, again, let's go back to the empirical evidence. You look at Abuja EDC that recently defaulted on their loan. You look at IBEDC that was taken over by AMCOM. It's clear that power projects require long-term financing. So I think Sukuk is a powerful way to solve our energy problems. And there's enough of local capital that can be mobilized. We don't have to wait for foreign direct investments from foreigners who are scared of political risk.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Adejumo. Right now, we'll go on a short break, and when we return, we'll continue the conversation. Islamic finance has been misunderstood by many to be a religious product aimed at only Muslims. But that is not the case. Since the 2008 global financial crisis, Islamic finance has become an attractive segment of the financial market, promoting sustainable development and economic empowerment. Join me every Friday on the Islamic Finance Weekly at 11 a.m. West African time as we discuss Connect the Globe on Islamic finance and its benefits. It features experts, scholars, analysts, policymakers, and regulators who provide insight on the capital market, banking, personal finance, Islamic insurance, financial literacy, waqf,
halal, and all other aspects of finance and the economy. You don't want to miss it.
Welcome back. If you are just joining us or just watching the Islamic Finance Weekly, we've been talking about how non-interest finance instruments can finance electricity or renewable energy sources in Nigeria. So I still have on the show my guest, Mr. Adejumo. All right, Mr. Adejumo, looking at the challenges facing the electricity market, which you've talked about, from the tariff, the VAT, value-added tax, that is having adverse effect on the households. So you mean the alternative is to reduce the cost through the funding of large-scale renewable energy projects through non-interest finance. How can this be achieved across Nigeria?
So the first thing I would say again is we should take a regional approach. So in the north, they have an excess of solar and wind. I can say for certain that in the southwest, especially coastal cities and the ones close to the coast, Ibadan and Lagos, there's several dams. Your state alone has about 400 megawatts of hydropower opportunity. So we can start to focus on what inherent benefits, what inherent advantage do these regions already have, rather than generate power from a single source and then have to transmit that. We already know that transmission is fragile. We are a multi-tribal country, and there's conflicts from time to time. We know all these things. So we can start from a regional approach to say, okay, Oyo State needs power. How about we use the hydropower dams? The north needs power. How about we use the excess solar power? How about we use the excess wind power? And with that, we can achieve efficiency, which then translates to lower costs for the households. Because again, we can't come at this from the approach of subsidy. We need to come up, because subsidy comes at an opportunity cost. The money that you're using to subsidize inefficient generation and transmission can be used for other sectors, whether that's healthcare or agri sector or waste management. There's all sorts of other problems that we need to solve. But if we come across this from the perspective of, okay, let's start with the regions, and then let's look at private-public partnerships. So the government already has a lot of responsibility. They should ensure security, they should ensure the infrastructure, road infrastructure and all that. So how about we conserve their capital so that they can use it for other projects? So how about we use this private-public partnership approach, and then we go and get equity, long-term capital from local investors. So we're not exposing ourselves to foreign currency risk. We're not expending foreign currency. We're not expending our reserves that are already weak. So let's start with regional approach. Let's do a PPP, right? Let's use equity capital from Islamic finance. And there are a lot of contracts. There's the Mission Musharaka, there's the Corporate Sukuk, there's the Federal Government Sukuk. If we even apply more initiative, if we look at what the Saudi Arabia British Bank has done, they introduced a supply chain, Sharia compliant supply chain finance. So that means cost of capital is not borne just by the entrepreneur alone or by the government alone, but by the vendors, the OEMs supplying the equipment. They have an interest. So if they're able to aggregate demand and do volume discounts, you can also do things like consolidated logistics to make sure cost of capital is lower for the entrepreneur. That makes the project more attractive. That makes the returns higher, and that incentivizes people to want to. So I'll because again, I'll come at this from a practical perspective. How many federal government agencies do we have? A few. How many businesses do we have in Nigeria? Over 1 million. So the faster we incentivize everybody, the faster we get all hands on deck to solve this problem, the faster we can have a solution. And if you look at all the other African countries, the ones that have reliable 24/7 electricity were the ones that privatized earlier. So I believe a regional approach with a PPP structure using equity capital from Islamic financing is the best approach to go about this.
Thank you very much, Mr. Adejumo, for highlighting those points on funding electricity from using the non-interest finance instruments across the regional and the FGN from federal government of Nigeria. Thank you very much. Now let's look at Malaysia as a country. You know, Malaysia has been a very active player in Islamic finance-based renewable energy deals, followed by we have Pakistan and UAE, United Arab Emirates. So how can non-interest finance be repositioned as a tool to help unlock the necessary investment for alternative energy and waste management projects in Nigeria?
So in addition, I would even add Jordan. I will add some other countries.
Okay.
So I would call for more initiative on the side of the financiers. I think we need more industry veterans in financing. We need more people who know the industry in and out, thinking about how to create Sharia-compliant financial contracts for this industry. So if you look at what the Bank of Jordan has done, for instance, they realized, one, on the practical side, they can cut the cost of power for all their branches by 50%. Two, they are not an oil-producing nation. And so whatever oil they are using, they have to import, which means they're expending their foreign reserves. So two, by going solar, they can start foreign exchange. So there's a lot of things that the renewable energy sector can unlock for us. I would say power generation is about the simplest thing, the most uninteresting thing that renewable energy brings. It brings high quality jobs. You conserve forex. You get 24/7 clean electricity. As an asset class, it outperforms the pension funds. The average pension fund will give you about 6-7% annually. A renewable energy will give you more at lower risk. So I believe, and the other importance of renewable energy for Nigeria particularly is it can serve as an edge against foreign currency risk, foreign currency exposure. Right now, everybody buying PMS or diesel is groaning because diesel went from around 350 naira to about 620, 650 in some filling stations. But with wind, with solar, you have a fixed cost. You have an upfront cost. You know exactly what you're going to pay from time to time. So these are the key benefits for me.
All right, so Mr. Adejumo, you are the Managing Director of Guaranteed Power Limited. You provide further insights on how you have used Islamic finance products for renewable energy power generation, for healthcare, agro, allied, and manufacturers. Have you used any non-interest finance product to achieve this?
Yes, so thank you. We are a renewable energy developer. We focus specifically on the healthcare sector, the agro-allied sector, and then the mid-sized manufacturers. So currently, we're working with some oxygen plants. We're working with a bunch of hospitals and then the rice mills. We are looking at raising a corporate sukuk.
Okay.
So we're currently looking at the corporate sukuk. We're targeting, let's say, 5 billion naira, right? Especially for the rice mills in northern Nigeria. They pay a lot for power from the grid, both with the grid and with diesel. So we think there's an opportunity for us to come in and then reduce their cost of power by 50%. So already you're going to see a corporate sukuk from us. So corporate sukuk is definitely with our own Islamic finance tool of choice.
So Green Sukuk is an advantage for Islamic companies that want to venture into environmental projects, like you, like Guaranteed Power Limited.
Definitely.
What are the prospects for industry players like Guaranteed Power to scale it through renewable energy?
Currently, we focus on the commercial and industrial sector, okay. But there's an opportunity for several players to come in at the residential level. So, like I mentioned, that communities can get involved in raising capital. using Islamic finance or Sharia compliant contracts. So at the homeowner association level, I think even the communities can take initiative, because the energy developer wants a guarantee. They are going to go take all that risk and invest upfront. They want a guarantee that their customers are going to pay. They are not the government. They cannot afford to get involved in projects that are unsustainable. So I think at the community level, at the homeowners association level, they can come together and get a guarantee so that the developer can then go and get financing to serve them. I think at the regional level, I think the states can use a sukuk for their own projects, either wholly owned by the state, or they can partner with private people just for efficiency or conservation of capital. I also think that from the private sector side, from the financiers, particularly financiers, I think the financiers need to do more. They need to step up. Right now, we don't really have a lot of non-interest financial institutions that understand renewable energy deeply. So right now, we have non-interest FIs that finance several sectors, and so they have divided attention. They don't have industry specialized veterans that know the industry in and out. So that's been an issue for them. So what they have are standardized products that don't cater to specific needs of the region, the sector. So for instance, renewable energy, solar has its own unique peculiarities from wind. It's different from hydro, is different from geothermal. And then the solar yield in the northern Nigeria is going to be different from the solar yield in the southwestern Nigeria. And then there's going to be cultural differences. So we need non-interest financial institutions to specialize and pay special attention and dedicate their resources to coming up with solutions that are tailor fit to different parts of that sector. I would say there's enough opportunity in terms of returns, whether you want to pick wind in northern Nigeria, or you want to pick solar in southwestern Nigeria, or you want to focus on household electricity, or you want to focus on industrial sector, or you want to say, okay, we only want to work with, let's say, essential industries. So there are several opportunities to pick and choose. There is not a lack of bankable projects, contrary to what most FIs will tell you. They are the ones not paying adequate attention to make sure they can create these financial products.
Thank you very much, Mr. Adeoluwa Adejumo, for sharing your perspective with us on the role of renewable energy and how non-interest finance can unlock the capital to finance some of the solutions. Thank you very much. We appreciate your intervention.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure being here.
All right, sir. Bye.
Take care.
And you too. Have a nice day. And that will be all for today's episode of the program. Connect with us on www.proshare.ng.com. Watch the Islamic Finance Weekly videos on Web TV banking channel. You can also follow us on our social media platform displaying on the screen. Many thanks for watching. See you again next week Friday. Bye for now.